For more than 2,000 years, people have asked one haunting question: how did Buddha die? The answer surprises many people. The founder of one of the world's great spiritual traditions did not disappear into light, ascend into heaven, or perform a final miracle before thousands. According to the earliest Buddhist traditions, the Buddha died in a deeply human way, old, physically weakened, and after becoming seriously ill. Yet what makes his death extraordinary is not how his body failed, but how he faced it. His final days became one of the most important teachings in Buddhism. To understand Buddha's death, we first need to understand something important: the Buddha never claimed to be immortal. He never presented enlightenment as magical invulnerability. Throughout his teachings he repeatedly reminded people that everything conditioned eventually changes, ages, and ends, even awakened beings. According to Buddhist texts, the Buddha was around 80 years old when he entered the final stage of his life. By ancient standards this was already an advanced age. He had spent decades traveling across northern India, mostly on foot, teaching thousands of people in villages, forests, and cities. No modern medicine. No vehicles. Endless walking under heat and rain. Long periods of teaching and guiding others. Eventually even the body of the awakened one began to weaken. The primary source describing Buddha's final days is the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, one of the most important texts in Buddhist tradition. It describes the Buddha traveling with his attendant and close disciple Ananda. During this journey, signs appeared that his physical condition was declining. He described his body as being like an old cart held together with straps. This image is powerful because it rejects the idea of spiritual perfection as physical invincibility. As Buddha moved from place to place, disciples continued gathering around him. Many expected him to remain forever. Others feared what would happen after his death. But Buddha's message remained unchanged: do not depend permanently on any person, not even the Buddha himself. Depend on understanding and practice. At one point Ananda became emotional and worried about losing his teacher. Buddha answered with one of his most remembered teachings: be lamps unto yourselves. Seek truth directly rather than clinging to another human being. Eventually Buddha arrived near a town called Pava where a local man named Kunda invited him and the monks to a meal. According to the traditional account, Kunda prepared a dish called Sukaramadava. The exact meaning of this food remains debated to this day. Some interpret it as pork. Others believe it was a kind of mushroom or rare forest food. Nobody knows with certainty. But after eating, Buddha became seriously ill. The texts describe severe sickness and intense physical suffering. Modern theories include food poisoning, infection, intestinal illness, or complications connected to advanced age, but the traditional account focuses less on diagnosis and more on attitude. Despite severe illness, Buddha remained calm. He continued moving and continued teaching. He comforted others while enduring pain himself. One of his most surprising instructions concerned Kunda, the man who served the meal. Buddha specifically told his followers not to blame him. If the meal had contributed to his illness, resentment could have followed for generations. Instead, Buddha declared that offering food before enlightenment and offering the final meal before parinirvana were both meaningful acts. This redirected attention away from blame and toward compassion and understanding. Human beings often want a cause and a person to hold responsible. Buddha pointed somewhere else. Eventually he reached a grove near Kusinara. There beneath the trees he prepared for death. The texts describe him lying on his right side in a peaceful resting posture that later became symbolic throughout Buddhist art. His disciples gathered around him. Many cried. Some remained silent. Ananda struggled emotionally. Yet Buddha continued answering questions and teaching almost until the very end. At one point he asked whether anyone still had doubts or questions. No one answered. Not because they understood everything, but because the teachings had already been given. Then came his most famous final words: all conditioned things are subject to decay. Strive with diligence. These words became one of Buddhism's defining messages. Notice what he did not say. He did not promise salvation through belief. He did not promise escape from reality. He reminded people of impermanence. Everything changes: bodies, success, relationships, societies, thoughts, and life itself. According to Buddhism, understanding this truth is not meant to create hopelessness but urgency. If everything changes, then this moment matters. Practice matters. Attention matters. Kindness matters. Life becomes more meaningful precisely because it is temporary. After these final words, Buddhist texts describe Buddha entering increasingly deep states of meditation. Passing through levels of concentration and awareness, he eventually reached complete passing away. This event became known as parinirvana. Many people misunderstand this idea. Parinirvana is not usually described as heaven, disappearance, or simple extinction. In Buddhist thought, enlightenment already ends attachment and ignorance during life. Physical death marks the complete end of conditioned existence for one who has awakened. Buddhism generally refuses to answer questions like whether Buddha still exists after death or does not exist after death, because these categories themselves may no longer apply. Buddha often discouraged speculation that distracts from direct experience and practice. After his death, reactions among followers varied. Some monks cried openly. Others reflected quietly that all things must pass. His body was honored according to local customs, and relics associated with him became objects of respect across Buddhist cultures. Stupas were built. Communities spread. Teachings traveled across Asia and eventually the world. Yet perhaps the most powerful part of the story is how ordinary his death appears. He did not escape aging. He did not perform supernatural rescue. He did not avoid illness. Instead, his final teaching happened through accepting reality completely. His body weakened, but his mind remained undisturbed. That became the lesson. Peace does not come from controlling change. Peace comes from understanding it. That is why people still ask how Buddha died. Not because they are searching for a hidden mystery, but because hidden inside the story is another question: if even the Buddha faced aging, sickness, and death directly, how should we face our own lives? His final moments suggest an answer, not with fear, not with denial, but with awareness, effort, and acceptance that every moment we have is temporary. Everything changes. Use your time well. Thanks for watching. Our channel is new and needs your support. In our channel you can find many videos on the history and philosophical teachings of Buddhism. Please subscribe to our channel to support the teachings of Buddha on YouTube.